My formal education ends with a high school diploma. Beyond that, I have a highly eclectic self-education. I claim no expertise or authority on any subject. I simply ask you to consider this. This is not a Halloween story of the typical sort. This brief narration is an account of actual events that happened nearly 80 years ago. Strictly by chance, it did occur on October 31st. It is a tale of horror that results in many deaths, but there are no goblins, ghosts, ghouls, or witches. The only monster that features in this at all would be the bloodiest war in the entire existence of our species. So if you can overcome your fear of learning a bit of history, let me take you back to 1941. The United States did not enter World War II until December 7, 1941. Right up until a direct assault on U.S. territory when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, the U.S. government publicly maintained a declaration of neutrality in the conflict. They did rather stretch the definition of neutral about as far as was possible. While they sent no troops, the U.S. did send food, fuel, ammunition, and other supplies to assist Great Britain, France, and Russia in their efforts to contain the German armed forces. U.S. factories produced huge volumes of goods that were loaded onto transports, which sailed under the flags of Canada, Norway, United Kingdom, Netherlands, and several other nations. In some cases, these ships were even registered as U.S. merchantmen, but flying the flag of a different country, most often Canada. The U.S. government at this time even allowed for a unique form of dual citizenship, whereby these ships and their crews could be regarded as Canadian citizens without being required to renounce their U.S. citizenship. U.S. warships were ordered to act as neutrality patrols to ensure no hostile ships entered the Caribbean or the Atlantic waters near the U.S. coast. Effectively, this meant that merchant ships were protected by the U.S. Navy for a fair reach out into the Atlantic. It was routine procedure for U.S. warships to escort convoys as far as Iceland, at which point they would fall under the protection of the Royal Navy, and the U.S. ships would either turn back or make port in Iceland to refuel. On October 22, 1941, a convoy designated HX-156, consisting of about 50 supply ships, departed Halifax, Nova Scotia, en route to Liverpool, England. 2 days later, they were met by a task force of 5 U.S. destroyers. The task force was aware of a wolf pack of German U-boats in the area as the convoy approached Iceland. Early on the morning of October 31st, the task force determined the position of the submarines from the radio transmissions. The USS Reuben James positioned itself between one of the submarines and a cargo ship laden with ammunition. At dawn, the German ship U-552 attacked, sending a torpedo through the bow of the Reuben James. This set off a massive explosion in the destroyer's forward magazine, completely separating the bow from the rest of the ship. In about 5 minutes, the ship sank. Over 100 men died, with only 44 survivors being recovered. This was the first U.S. warship sunk in the Second World War. Despite this direct attack on a U.S. military vessel, the United States government maintained its declaration of neutrality. I appreciate you taking the time to check out what I have produced. I'm still trying to find the direction for my channel, so I hope that you will click the subscribe and continue to check out what I do in the future. I would appreciate if you click the like button and perhaps share this out on Twitter, Facebook, or wherever it is that you do your social media. Again, I do not consider myself to be an expert or an authority on any subject. If you question what I have told you here, I consider that a step in the right direction, because ultimately my goal is to get you to think for yourself.